Today, I'm going to shed some light on three myths about core values. The first myth is that values are passed down from generation to generations. Now, of course, this is kind of true in the beginning because those are the first values we are exposed to as children. So any kind of family values or any values that are passed down through the community, through religion, what we will take on as children. But the mistake that we make is that we hold on to them because we're saying that's the way it is, right? How many times do you hear that? So we have to understand that that is false as we go through our own life experiences. Those past values, these outdated values, may not work for us. And this is where we start feeling off with our life choices or with the way our life is going. So keep that in mind. You may need to reevaluate what your core values truly are, or if you're just holding on to past values that are not working for you. The second myth is that we keep the same values for our entire life. That's another misconception because as we evolve and as our life takes the path that it does, we will develop new values or our priorities may change. Although our dominant values will stay the same, they may take a different role in our lives. So it is important to review our values regularly. I like to use the example of businesses who do strategic planning every 3, 5 years. They always review their organizational values to make sure that they are still aligned with their vision or mission. So this is the same thing with personal. This is what we should be taught about values is we should be, not necessarily every 3 or 5 years, but we should be reevaluating our values to make sure that they still work with what we're working on and what we're trying to build. Now, the one trick to know if it's time to review your values is if you are in relationships, whether they are friendships, business partnerships, or love relationships. If things starts to feel off, if they were great in the beginning and now everything seems to be a struggle, it's usually because the values are not respected or they're not in line. And it's the same for work. You could be very uh, motivated and passionate about the work that you do, and all of a sudden you're just looking for excuses not to show up to work, or you start procrastinating. It's usually a sign that you need to reevaluate whether it is your values or maybe the decisions that you're making are not aligned with your values. So that's your trick. The third myth, and that is a huge one that we tend to overlook, is that values are negotiable. People love to make you believe that you shouldn't believe in what you believe. So you need to understand that your values are who you are at the core. That's why we call them core values. And that is non-negotiable. You cannot negotiate values. You cannot control what people believe, just like you wouldn't want anybody to control what you believe. So keep that in mind that they are non-negotiables. And this is where it is important to know what your values truly are, that you're not taking on other people's values, and be clear on the definition of what that means to you, because everybody has a different definition of respect or love or curiosity or adventure, right? So you need to make sure that you're working with the same definitions when you're trying to compare values. So that's why it's so important. Your values are what are going to allow you to set healthy boundaries for you and your family and your loved ones, so that you stay solid in your values and that your life is aligned with them. So I will leave you with those three, and I invite you to have a look at my book. It is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and many other independent bookstores. And chapter 1 is all about values. If you want to know how you want to show up as a parent, you need to know what your values are and be sure that everything is aligned with it. So I will leave you with that. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll talk soon.